Hi friends, and welcome to a new video. If you don't know me, hi, my name is Evie. I am a wildlife artist and I make videos about art and creative living. I used to love sketchbooking when I lived in London, and so I thought a nice way of getting me back into the habit of getting back into my sketchbook would be to do a day out in London and yeah, do some sketching. In this video we're going to be drawing on the train. I'm taking you guys along to the London Aquarium where we'll be doing some doodling. Hi, could you wait with that for just a second? And I'm also going to take you guys up the London Eye, so that'll be fun. Now that we're all caught up to date, roll the clips! Hello friends, it is voiceover Evie in one of the many voiceovers in this video. The day I went to London was quite a rainy day, and honestly, it made me kind of happy because it was nice to have a purpose on a rainy day, I suppose. It was nice to have an adventure in the making. I wasn't planning to do any drawing on the train, but when I got there, I don't know, I was feeling kind of inspired, and I also wanted to practice drawing in public rather than getting to London and then kind of chickening out and not doing it after all. So I brought my sketchbook out on the train. I was filming on my iPhone for this, and I had because it was quite a bright day, I was able to put my phone into like anti-shake mode and still have like relatively enough light. The footage is a bit grainy, but I hope it's still okay. The sketchbook I'm using is a Lectrum 197. I think it might be supposed to be a notebook, but I really love working in these. Especially with fine liner pens, I just feel like the ink flows so nicely on the paper, and Lectrum always has like the most wonderful paper, so yeah, I love working with them. I said that as if this is a collab. It's not, it's just I bought this notebook because I really like it, and oh man, I'd love to work with them. But at the moment that is not the reality. The pen that I'm using is a Derwent 0.3mm line maker, which is a fine liner, and I love this pen. I'm pretty sure I got it in a Scrawlrbox subscription a couple of years ago. If you don't know Scrawlrbox, it's a art supply subscription here in the UK, and I used to get their boxes because, you know, I was really into sketchbooking back then as well, but then I just didn't have time, so I cancelled it. And I kind of want to continue it again, but we'll see what happens. I had absolutely no idea what to fill this page with, so I was trying to just draw the things that I'm really used to drawing. So if you're familiar at all with any of my characters, you might recognize some of them. I have a couple of Lottles, which are my like kawaii axolotl characters. You'll definitely be seeing a lot more of them on this channel. And then I had Hank, my grumpy crab. And I also had some Nudibuns, which are my kind of kawaii character Nudibranchs. It felt really nice just as a warm-up exercise to be able to just dot down whatever was coming into my head. And you know what, like I was really not liking the page at the time of drawing it, but I wanted to stick with it because I don't know, like if you don't start and you get all the bad drawings out of you, then you're not going to get to the good ones, right? So I just wanted to keep it up, keep it going, and yeah, I think at the end, like looking back on that page now, I really love it. I think it's quite cute, quite quirky. It's, you know, it's not my best work in any shape or form, but it's a fun page in my sketchbook, and that's exactly what I wanted this trip to be. I wanted it to be fun and just a way for me to loosen up a bit and to just draw inspiration from my surroundings. Now, I mean, there were no sea slugs on the train, obviously, but maybe my surroundings, I don't know. I mean, my characters are always in my head. I'm not sure if I can get them out. They're kind of parked up there. And I didn't really want to draw my surroundings specifically. It was more getting inspired by being in different surroundings that I was looking for. And I do feel like I achieved that. I mean, this sketchbook page it's rough around the edges, it's not my best work by any means, but I did like it and I had fun making it. I didn't like it at the time of finishing it, but I like it now. I hope you enjoy the rest of the drawing video, and I'll see you in the next clip. Our next stop was South Bank, where the London Sea Life Aquarium is located. It was packed inside. I thought I'd go like just when it opened, because I don't know, like when I've ever gone to it in the past, I've gone at opening time and I usually got like a good half hour before the halls started flooding. One thing I wanted to mention, if you are ever interested in drawing at an aquarium yourself, I did make a mistake at the beginning where, you know, I saw these kelp tanks at the start of the hall and I thought, ooh, you know, like kelp isn't that popular, so I'll go here and draw. But the problem, of course, is that, I mean, you know, they weren't necessarily that popular, but everyone who came in through that hall instantly went to like the first tanks that they could see, because, you know, it was exciting. They'd just gotten in, and so it was a terrible place for me to stand and draw. And I also like moved aside because I obviously didn't want to like block the tank. So I was standing in an area where like I constantly had to make sure I wasn't filming anyone else. And I do think it's really important when you're drawing in a public place, especially if you're filming, you do not want to get in people's way, because, you know, they're there to have a nice time as well. So it was a bit of a mistake of me to stand by that tank, and I quickly moved away, but I think as a result of that, the drawing I was doing just didn't turn out that nice because I was just constantly stressed and obsessing over it.
Blue dude, blue moon, kinda mysterious, shaded with someone I'm not really into. Do you need to fix it? Talking bullshit. It's hard to see you when your eyes look dull. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you not blue? Not blue. Blue dude, bad mood, sorta witty and jaded, but let's not talk about you. Your coyote song on a rerun. Are you hound dog tired, singing all night long? Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you not blue? Not blue. Not blue dude, blue moon, been one or two since I ran into you. Do you need a picture? Well, that gets old. It's hard to take one when your iPhone's full. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you not blue? Not blue. Not blue.
Some of the tanks that I went to, like I would bring out my iPad, but it just got too crowded, and so I would just kind of walk away again, because it was difficult finding a position where I wasn't in the way and also where, you know, it wasn't like a super lucrative spot that a lot of people would want to queue up for, because you don't want to like take it up forever. Interestingly, I did manage to find a spot that was not like, no one went there almost at all. And it was this little indent in a wall where the clownfish were, and I was a bit surprised by this, because usually, I guess because of Finding Nemo, clownfish are like super popular among young kids in aquariums. But actually on this day, like a lot of them, you know, they'd point them out, they'd shout Nemo, but then they'd go to like all the more obscure fish that are lesser known. And I was so happy that, I don't know, so many young kids were excited about like lesser known species that haven't necessarily been turned into cartoon characters. I thought that was so cool. Oh, and there was this beautiful like freshwater tropical tank. I think it's called Blackwater, and it was just so pretty. The water was kind of green inside, which isn't entirely visible from this clip, but then you had the reddish brown wood and then all these like bright orange and brown fishes inside, and it was just so beautiful. Again, I felt a bit awkward standing by this tank because it turned out to be quite not a popular one, but it was right in like a crossing section where people would walk past. So I didn't stay here for too long, but it was one of my favorites to see. I'm not entirely sure why that one Blackwater tank was in that area, but it was really beautiful, so I did get to draw a couple of Blackwater fish as well. And in this clip, like, I could not believe that there was a little indent where I could stand by the shark tank and draw. I don't know why no one was there, but there was like, I think because it looked like there was a fence blocking it off, but the fence was blocking off these construction workers that were in a different corner. And so where I was standing, people thought they couldn't go, but actually you could. So it was interesting, but I felt so lucky. And to be fair, it was not by any means like the best view of the tank. A lot of people flock to like the massive window where you can see everything. But I got some visits from sharks and rays. There was even an angel shark in this tank. And if you know me, like, you know I love me an angel shark. Like, they are just the coolest little creatures. In this piece, I'm working on some yellowfin tunas, and tuna fish are just the sweetest little things. I love drawing them. They have that like classic fish shaped body as well, which is really fun because I feel a bit like I'm drawing a cartoon fish. I mean, a lot of my work is cartoony, but I was also a bit surprised in this whole sketchbook page with my kind of choice of brush, because normally I'm like a thin pencil and then a bit of like watercolor or block color in the background. But for this sketchbook page, I ended up using my kind of homemade crayon pencil for most of it, and you know, it was nice and fresh and loose, and I enjoyed it. It was also a thing where, like, I was originally planning to draw in my sketchbook in the aquarium, but it was so dark that like I just wouldn't have been able to capture any of it on the pages, and that is why in the end I decided to just draw on the iPad. It felt weird because I've never used my iPad as a sketchbook. I did enjoy it. It was quite fun. But yeah, as you can see, I tried to not block anyone, so I would like walk in the back whenever anyone else wanted access to the tank, and then when the hall kind of cleared out, I would go back and just take whatever opportunities I got to look at the fish and draw. I actually had quite a few people come over and just kind of sit and look at the screen as I was drawing, which was really cool. I always love it when people do that. It makes me extremely anxious, but at the same time, it's such a compliment, and especially when people like come up to you and say they like your work. And I mean, someone did that at the aquarium, and I was low-key embarrassed because it, you know, this is not my best work. But at the same time, you know, the fact that I'm working on something that clearly isn't like the best in the world, and someone being so nice and like coming up and say, hey, you know, I really love that, you're doing great. Like, what a nice person you are. Honestly, what a nice person to do that. There was this couple that came up and they were both like, oh, we love seahorses and this is too cute. And yeah, it made my day. If you were that couple, thank you so much. You were so sweet to me. I did find drawing like moving fish very challenging. And I was a bit, I don't know, I mean, I think I've had the luxury for so long of Googling and just looking at still images. So maybe I need to do some more practice of like drawing from footage, from video footage. But it was really good practice drawing in person, and I'm hoping that as we go along in this series and I do more and more drawing from life, then hopefully like I'll get better. With that said, when it comes to drawing from life, I never feel like it's the final piece that you make on the day that becomes your top art piece or anything. It's more the skills that you pick up, like as you're making these very often bad drawings and bad art and stuff. So many things are being planted in your mind and in your muscle memory, and it's such an effective way to learn. If you have been thinking of bringing a sketchbook or your iPad out with you as you explore the world, even on a day-to-day basis, I cannot recommend it enough. It is such good practice, and it can be humbling. This is not work that I would necessarily share to my social profiles. I'd probably put it in my stories or share it with my patrons if anything. But the skills I learned from this day are, invaluable. And I am so happy that I decided to go on this day out. This sketchbook page took me a long time to draw. I was in the aquarium for I think close to 5 hours. 4 or 5 hours, I can't remember exactly. And you know what, now that I'm looking at it, like as I was drawing it, I kind of hated every single piece I was working on because independently they just did not look like my work. But looking at the page as a whole, I'm like, I want to make art prints of this for my store. Not because it's my best work ever, but because it's a memory. It's like capturing a moment in time of the day I went out to London and drew fish at the aquarium. Let me know in the comments if you think I should make art prints of this. I am very tempted to do a limited run of just handmade ones and see how it goes. Anyways, I have been talking for a long time, so I'm gonna put on some music for you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the clip, and I will see you in the next one.
Saw you down the motorway. There was something about you that day. I can still hear the shimmering sound. The hill is near, let's get right up. Walk up to the very top. We couldn't tell the sky from the ground. I know my life will never be the same after that day. Fingers and you stay. I don't ever wanna be alone again. In spite of all, you're my best friend. After that day, you wrap me around your fingers and you stay. I don't ever wanna be alone again. Despite all, you're my best friend.
So off we were on our next adventure to the London Eye. The queue to the London Eye this time was massive, not massive in comparison to peak season, but for a slow, rainy day, I was really surprised. I actually thought it was going to be so quiet that I'd get a carriage on my own, which I have gotten in the past, but our carriage was filled up with, I think it's between 8 and 10 people they put in there, something like that. And yeah, as you can see outside, it was a little bit rainy, but it was alright, like I didn't get soaked in any way. And for this drawing, again, my goal was not to like draw my surroundings or draw my city. It was more to draw or to find inspiration by being in different surroundings. I decided to draw things inspired by some scenes that I saw at the aquarium. The aquarium was still very much on my mind, as you'll see in this drawing. The pen I'm using is a big one, and I'll put the full like name on the screen. I love this one. I bought it in, I think it was a 4-pack. There was a pink one, a green one, a blue one, and I think a purple one. And I've been using these pens for so long, like they don't run out of ink for ages. I highly recommend these pens if you want something that's just nice, quick and easy to bring out and do some doodles in your sketchbook. They just flow really nicely on the paper, they feel good in my hands, they got like a good silicone grip to them, so yeah, it's good for your hands as well, I think. There was no squid at the aquarium, but I'm always thinking squid, so I guess I drew that. Oh, and I also wanted to say there was a girl who came up to talk to me at the end of the ride. If you were that girl, thank you so much for coming over to say hi. I think you were on like a study trip. You were on a study trip from somewhere, and you were so nice to me, so thank you for coming over and saying hi, and yeah, for making my day extra positive. Thank you very much. I never thought I would be a person who would be happy when someone came up and talked to me in person. I know that sounds very grumpy, but despite the positive vibes I feel like I sometimes give off, maybe I don't, I mean maybe I don't at all, but I think inside of my head I'm a bit of a grumpy old man in many respects. But when I'm drawing out in the city and someone comes up and like makes the effort and kind of tackles, I suppose, that fear of being ignored or anything like that, and just comes up and says hi and tells you that you're doing a great job, I mean, how beautiful is that? I think there are so many beautiful people in this world, and I really appreciated everyone who came up and said something nice, or even just who sent me a smile. And it reminded me of the very first time I was drawing in public in London. I was at the National Gallery and we had an assignment to go and like draw copies of some of the portraits and then interpret them in our own style. So I was standing there drawing some portrait that I had no idea who it was by. I am terrible. I do not know my old masters and I need to get better at that. Yes, I absolutely do. But anyhow, I was drawing in the gallery and this couple comes up to me, this elderly couple, and the man comes over and he points to my sketchbook and then he points to the portrait and he says, "That's gonna be you up there one day." And I thought that was the most amazing thing. Someone just came up and said that to me. And you know, he didn't have to mean it, but it was just such a beautiful thing for a stranger to go up to another stranger and say. I think if we were all that nice to each other, then, you know, oh, what a beautiful place the world would be. And I think I got a photo with them as well. It was him and his wife and then me on a bench next to the oil portrait with my sketchbook. So that's going to be in someone's holiday photos somewhere in the world. But yeah, I just thought that was such a lovely, lovely thing to do. Oh, and as you can see from this footage, I mean, London does look stunning in the rain, doesn't it? I mean, it's such a beautiful city. I have not been to a whole lot of like major cities around the world. I've always for some reason tended to go to more rural places when I travel, but oh, I love London. I love the South Bank, especially in the summer, even though it gets crowded and it gets hectic and you can barely see your feet. I love fighting my way in the winter markets to the mulled wine stands and just warming up next to the bank. The bank is in the riverbank, not the financial institution. And yeah, oh no, I loved this trip. And as you can see, I've been working a little bit on my blue ringed octopus. I'm always thinking about squid and always thinking about blue ringed octopuses. And yeah, it was just all coming out on this page. For some reason, a pigeon ended up in this page as well, and I find that so funny. Today I shared a illustration on my Instagram about this pigeon that I drew in 2015, and I shared it to my Facebook. I think it was 2015. And that was actually a pigeon that I saw in South Bank back when I was doing an exhibition at the BFI, and it was so funny that that should pop up on the very same day that I was editing this video, because here I am nearly 10 years later and I'm still drawing pigeons at the South Bank. So yeah, I mean, if you take anything from this video in terms of art supply recommendations, I recommend the Lecturum's notebooks. I recommend any kind of fine liner or ballpoint pens because they flow really nicely in your hands. And just any kind of off-brand highlighters or on-brand highlighters. You know, I got mine, I think I got them in a supermarket. But in terms of my favorite like brands of pens, I'm a big fan of the Unipin range, I'm a big fan of the Copic range, I'm a big fan of the Derwent range. Like, give me a fine liner and I'll love it. But I feel like that's not true. Like, I feel like I could be pretty dang harsh if a fine liner was not doing what I thought a fine liner should be doing. But so far I have not encountered any that have been mean to me, or that I have been mean to, I suppose. I hope you enjoy the rest of the clip, and I'll see you back at the studio. Welcome back! I hope you enjoyed this video. I plan to do many more of them. I'm hoping to do at least one a week of going into London and just experiencing the city, taking you guys along to different places and make lots of nice art. I definitely want to get some food clips as well in the future. Like, I feel like this one was very like tourist attraction heavy, and I do love me a tourist attraction, but I also want to get some like cozy cafe vibes in there as well. The next one we're gonna do is actually the London Zoo and MCM Comic Con in London. So I will see you for that one. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel, liking the video, and leaving a nice comment if you feel like it. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Good luck in all your creative endeavors, and bye!
Say bye!